So welcome back to French Ear Trumpet. My name's Colin. I've got a channel called French Countryside Life, and I'm joined by Andy, who's got his own channel, which is just brilliant, which is
AJ in France.
AJ in France, brilliant. So this is French Ear Trumpet, where we talk about things that interest us, not always directly relating to France, but just things that we find interesting and that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
So tonight's subject is conspiracy theories.
Oh, yes.
Yes, conspiracy theories. So I've got the definition from Oxford Languages of a conspiracy theory. It says, a belief that some secret but influential organisation is responsible for an event or phenomenon.
Right.
So that's the definition of it. So,
right. There's some obvious ones to start with, isn't there? I mean, you can name it. There's loads. Moon landings, JFK. There's some crazy ones as well. Absolutely mad ones.
All of 9/11.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Let me just touch on that briefly, if you don't mind. So, doing the research for this evening, it was interesting to come across a website. I think it was AP News, which they fact check. And one of the conspiracy theories surrounding 9/11 was that the airplane that allegedly, actually, I should add that everything that we talk about tonight is alleged and just for entertainment, and we really don't want to get sued, do we?
No, it literally is our interpretation of things, what we've read and looked at. It's just entertainment.
Yeah.
No, we're not saying that any of these are or aren't true. We're just giving you our opinion. That's it.
Yeah. So the airplane that crashed into the Pentagon on 9/11, there's a conspiracy theory that $1 trillion had gone missing in the government funds and couldn't be found, and this was a way of covering up allegedly the theft of $1 trillion from the taxpayer purse. So AP News looked into it, and it turns out to be false.
No.
Quel surprise. Yeah, a bit French there.
She wanted in.
Apparently, there was $2.3 trillion that couldn't be located.
Right. It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of shed load of money, but that was because of outdated financial technology. So when the report had been done to say that, to balance the books, that was with old accounting technology.
Okay.
And when they put in the new technology, the new systems, there was a gap in the system of 2.3 trillion.
Right.
Which is a big old gap, isn't it? But
somebody's forgot to carry the decimal point or whatever.
Yeah, about 18 places. But anyway, so that just goes to demonstrate that there are conspiracy theories and not facts.
Yeah. And that's the whole point. Nobody can prove these things at all. So one of my favorite ones, I don't know if you've ever heard of this one. It's quite weird. Do you know the singer Avril Lavigne?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, go on. You do it. Go on.
So she was a popular singer, probably early 2000s, I guess, something like that. And apparently, according to this theory, she died and has been replaced by a double.
Yeah, I did read that one actually. I was in the yeah.
So, despite all the evidence to the contrary, and Avril Lavigne herself saying, "No, it's complete nonsense." Well,
but then she would, wouldn't she?
So that is one of the weirdest one's not the weirdest, but one that I don't know, for some reason, why would someone start that? Why would they make it up? For what? I mean,
like Robbie says, it's someone sitting in their mum's bedroom in their Super Ted pajamas eating Wotsits.
That's Robbie, isn't it? From Escape to French Ear.
Yeah.
Think in the description. So there are some. Like the weirdest of all time has to be was it David Icke said that
David Icke, yeah,
the royal family are all lizards.
Yeah. Don't know what to add to that, really. David Icke. Although, in all fairness, some of the other things that weren't so outlandish that he talked about with recent events, not so outlandish.
I don't know anything else that he's done. Yeah. I sometimes just see his name, and then someone that can pronounce that the Queen is actually a lizard.
Yeah.
No, it would be the King as well. Obviously, he'd have to be a lizard as well.
Of course, yeah. So
I don't know. I
came across this this list actually by a physicist called David Robert Grimes, and he estimated the time it would take for a conspiracy to be exposed based on the number of people involved.
Right, go on.
Okay, so he said the moon landing hoax would require the involvement of 411,000 people and would be exposed within 3.68 years. A vaccination conspiracy would require a minimum of 22,000 people without the drug companies and would be exposed within at least 3.15 years and at most 34 years, depending on the number of people involved.
Crikey.
Yeah.
So the moon landing one then. Right. First question is, what is there a conspiracy theory you believe? Is the one that that strikes you as like, you know what? Yeah, I'll get that. It can be big or small. Have you got one?
Yeah, there is.
Go on, hit me.
There is. So I think I can hear the sound of thin ice cracking, but I'm going to go there anyway.
Do it.
So Jeffrey Epstein.
Which bit? There's lots of it.
Yeah, the bit where he went to prison and
accidentally, brutally hung himself. Accidentally.
Yeah.
I think
he had this island where lots of celebrities would allegedly go to and allegedly take part in various activities that would be frowned upon in polite society, and he would probably know literally, allegedly, where the bodies were buried.
Yeah.
And he suddenly decided to take the easy way out. Maybe allegedly, possibly with a little bit of help.
Yeah, there's a lot around that would lead to that theory, I guess, that the guard wasn't there, the CCTV wasn't working, he just changed cells, he'd asked for like 40 blankets or something.
Did you see the picture of the guy that was his cellmate?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I see. I can see that. I can, and to be fair, it's not necessarily that. It's very similar to recently. Boeing had a problem with their jets, and the whistleblowers that came forward have all died in mysterious circumstances.
No.
Yeah, in fact, it's a well-known meme, I guess, in the internet, that Boeing pays the assassins more than it would have cost to fix the problems. So that, I mean, who knows? Who knows?
You know what? In the future, people are going to watch this, okay, and they're going to play a drinking game. Every time that we say allegedly, they're going to have to take a drink.
They won't make it past 10 minutes. They'll be on the floor. Yeah, but there are those. I mean, right? What are the biggest ones? Obviously, the moon landing.
Yeah.
Now, I can understand where that comes from because we're talking 1969.
69. Yeah.
At the time, you I mean, there was no such thing as home computers or, digital wristwatches or anything simple like that. There's certainly no mobile phones or anything. So how did they manage to get that spacecraft with ancient technology all the way to the moon?
I'm old enough to remember watching the moon landing on a black and white TV.
Can't even get colour telly, and you can put a craft on the moon.
Yeah, I would have been 6 years old. Yeah, I remember sitting there watching it on a black and white TV. There was that joke about black and white TVs it was not a joke. It was when they had snooker on the TV.
Oh yeah.
And the commentator said, for those who are watching in black and white, the brown ball is next to the green.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right. So how did they do it? Because it was all tied up with the Cold War and the race to the moon with the Russians, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's what it was all tied up with. And wasn't it Kennedy that promised
by the end of the decade, you would have people on the moon?
Yeah.
And because they were behind at that point. So Sputnik had been launched, which is the first satellite. You had Yuri Gagarin in space.
Yeah, first
so they needed a win. They needed something quick. And
yeah.
I mean, so they say that they faked it. Now, actually, in research for this, I watched a film called Capricorn 1.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
1974.
Yeah. So for those who haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's brilliant. It's got O.J. Simpson in as well, which I didn't realise till I rewatched it.
He wasn't wearing gloves, was he?
No gloves.
Gloves that didn't fit him.
Exactly. So that we could get onto that in a minute, actually. Yeah. So the premise of the film is that there's a space crew, load of astronauts are going to Mars, and they're training really hard, and it gets down to launch day. They're in the spaceship. Spoiler alert, by the way, if anyone wants to watch this. They're going to go and blast off, go to Mars, and just at the end of the countdown, the door of this capsule's opened, and there's the mission coordinator there, and he says, "Actually, lads," I'm paraphrasing now. "Actually, lads, we can't do this. We haven't got the technology. Come with us." So they fly them out to the middle of the desert to this facility where they've mocked up the surface of Mars with the lander and all that. And they spend the next few months, years, whatever, on this fakey planet doing what they would expect and beaming the signals back to Earth. So the problem comes, the spacecraft in real life, when it comes back, blows up. So they've now got a crew of astronauts.
Yeah, that shouldn't be
alive. They don't
alive.
know what to do with them because they should be dead.
Well, sorry, go on.
So it's all about what happens after that. But basically, I think that was leaning towards the moon landings being fake.
Well, there's a similar sort of conspiracy that was it the MH
170.
170, the flight that went down, was it near the Philippines, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they reckon that was the same plane that was allegedly shot down over Ukraine a couple of years later. It was just renamed.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one, but it definitely wasn't. Definitely wasn't. But the interesting thing is these conspiracy theories just rely on something that doesn't quite fit. There's coincidence. Maybe it might be a coincidence. It might be something like that. I remember watching a film or a documentary about JFK and the shooting.
Yes.
At JFK, and must be hundreds of documentaries.
Yep.
You can, depending on what day it is, you get a different outcome.
Yeah. Well, there was it RFK, who was the guy who was recently standing for president, wasn't he? Was it Robert?
Yep.
Yeah. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was adamant that it was the CIA.
The CIA.
Mm.
For what reason?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I wouldn't like to say, but he was adamant that it was the CIA. It was all to do with Cuba and Castro and all that.
Yeah, because that was high tensions around that time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With the missile crisis.
Yeah.
But some of these, like, I know where that would come from is there are times in our history where these kind of things have actually been proven to be true. So there was an intentional leak of contaminated water to some villages, I think in Africa, and that was actually carried out by the CIA, where they actually dosed it with, I'm going to say LSD, but it might be some other hallucinogen, and they did a whole village, and that actually was true. Then you got Americans, again, CIA, probably, it's definitely Americans. They said they were going to vaccinate or cure syphilis in a population in Africa, and they never did.
The Tuskegee syphilis experiment, that's on my screen, actually.
Yeah, and all they did was they just wanted to study how it went through a population. So they just gave them placebos, and they just monitored how it spread.
The spread of it, yeah.
So you can see, and it's things like that led to, unfortunately, during COVID, the poor take-up of the vaccine in those areas and in those communities, which by then had spread across the globe. So you get, like, for example, people of African origin would not take anything state mandated, like the COVID vaccine, and it was based around those actual genuine times when that.
I didn't know that. Okay. Didn't know that. So the obvious scenario at the moment is the Trump potential assassination attempt. It's just recently, I mean, if you believe it, on Fox News, that it turns out that half of the Secret Service agents that were there weren't actually Secret Service agents. They was just stepping in. There was Department of Homeland Security agents and various other people drafted in.
Right.
I've worked with Secret Service agents in the past, and they're consummate professionals. They're the best of the best, and their training is first class. And from what I saw in the video of the Secret Service agents that were protecting him, they weren't the best of the best. They didn't seem to know what they was doing. There was no protocols. It just didn't seem to know what they was doing. And once again, Joe Rogan, he was on his podcast. He was talking about this, and he said that if you was a screenwriter and you went to a producer with a script,
right,
that said, you've got an 81-year-old president who's allegedly got dementia and possibly Parkinson's, and the egomaniac previous president is at an event, and someone takes a shot at him, and he's a 20-year-old who's allowed to get within 140 yards, and he just misses him and catches his ear, and he gets the guy that shoots him gets shot not by the police that were on the roof, but by Secret Service agents that were on a roof behind the police snipers.
Right.
And then you've got a bunch of Secret Service agents that are running around, can't even holster a gun. And then you've got the head of the Secret Service who says that we didn't put agents on that route because it's a bit slopey.
Bit slumpy.
So if you was a screenwriter and you went to a producer in Hollywood with that script,
I'd say it's unbelievable.
They just say that's ridiculous. Take that away.
So I guess what do the inference there is that it was set up to.
The inference is twofold. It's either massive incompetence,
right,
or a conspiracy to make this happen. Personally, I would go for massive incompetence because there's a lot of dumb-ass people around.
I think you're probably right, but it does make for interesting because he was a Republican, wasn't he? The shooter.
Well, you say that. And once again, this feeds into the conspiracy thing. That the reason that people are saying he was a Republican was because there was a record of him making a donation to the Republican Party 2 or 3 years ago.
Right, based on that.
Yeah, that was it. And how easy would it be to fabricate that?
Well, yeah, obviously they can do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
They can do anything. Right, yeah, well, that's interesting.
They're going to be watching this and they're going to get some knocks on the door in the middle of the night.
That's it, yeah.
I wonder who that can be. People will be going, yeah, what happened to them two fellas on French Ear Trumpet? Yeah, I don't know, they just stopped it.
Channel just disappeared. And yeah, so that's quite interesting. I mean, it goes back. I mean, it's similar to JFK. If you take it on face value, it's just a lone sniper who tries to, or in JFK's actually does manage to shoot and kill the president.
Yeah.
Or former president as he is now, Mr. Trump. But there are similarities. But the only difference is the Lee Harvey Oswald was a trained sniper. He was the best of the best. He was really good at what he did.
Yeah.
What's your theory on the JFK scenario? Do you think it was him? Do you think there was a man on the grassy knoll? Or do you believe RFK that it was in fact CIA?
Back in the 60s, wasn't it?
Yes.
63, wasn't it? Yeah, because it was it November?
It was in November, yeah.
Yeah, because I was born in October. So I was so you can't
even though you
was alive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so back then I think the what we would now call deep state.
Deep state. I like that.
Yeah, what we would now call deep state was alive and running wild then. There was going into the Vietnam War. Strangely enough, following the French. So the French had their behinds handed to them in Vietnam.
Oh, yeah.
Indochina.
I think most people have it.
Yeah.
Anybody going over there has.
It's been like Afghanistan with the Soviets, isn't it, in Afghanistan?
And the British.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, yeah. And was it the 1900s, was it?
Just before that, I think.
Was it? Okay.
I think the 1890 something. So I think it was late. I might be wrong on that, so I'm not going to say.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, so as I say, so the CIA then could pretty much do what they liked.
But
I mean, it was in their interest at the time to promote the drug trade.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Because he was starting the war on, or was that Reagan? War on drugs?
That was the war on drugs was Bush, wasn't it? The first George Bush.
No, I think there was before that. Might be wrong. Thought it was Reagan, but anyway.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, so they did promote the drug trade. In fact, a good film is all to do with the Contras and the Iranian regime and all that. American Made. Have you seen that?
That's it.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Where he flies the plane. Yeah.
He's a CIA pilot that drops weapons off to the Contras, and it's very complicated but very interesting. And he brings back drugs at the same time as he's dropping off weapons.
Yeah,
it's a really good film.
So to think that for whatever reason the CIA was able to manufacture and manipulate things so that the president gets shot, it wouldn't surprise me.
I'm not sure that, but then why offing an entire president? It just doesn't. I mean, it doesn't make sense. You can get rid of him normally by other means, can't you? I mean, look at Watergate. That got rid of what's his name, Nixon, quite quick, didn't it?
Yeah, but that was his own.
It was, but what I'm saying is they don't have to assassinate them. They can make something else up or do something else.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, that's the whole point. That's why it's been going for so long, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Because no one knows, and you'll never know. There's
weird things about that, like going back, there's always something extra that makes it a conspiracy. Like Jack Ruby getting shot. Sorry, shooting. What's his name? Lee Harvey Oswald, as he came out.
And didn't Jack Ruby get shot as well?
Yeah, he got
killed.
So
it's like tying up loose ends, isn't it?
It's like, what's going on there? Because that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird. And then when JFK went to the hospital, and one of the Secret Service agents came in and scooped his brain up, put it in a jar, and took it away.
As one does.
As one brain scooping. There's all these little things that, in of themselves, you can pass. You can pass away. Like, obviously they want to take the brain so that that there's the bullet in there. They can do analysis or whatever. But then when you add it to the guy who did it getting shot and the guy who shot the guy getting shot, it's like there's something not quite right there, for sure. Absolutely.
So, moving on, I've been in the process of doing a bit of research for this, come across a really interesting, I'm not sure you'd call it a conspiracy theory. I suppose it is really.
Well,
that put forward by lots of people, and lots of academics, but also made popular by Elon Musk.
Oh, okay.
The fact that we're living in a simulation.
Oh, yes, I've heard this.
Right. So Elon Musk quote on, once again, the Joe Rogan podcast, which is just brilliant, is the quote is quote of the week, I suppose, isn't it? Is if you assume any rate of improvement at all, games will eventually be indistinguishable from reality. Therefore, there is a 1 in a billion chance that this is base reality. Now, there's a scientist called Nick Bostrom, a Swedish Oxford professor and director of the Future of Humanity Institute. I'm just reading this off the screen. In his paper titled, "Are You Living in a Computer Simulation?" Bostrom states that at least one of these propositions is true. Number one, the human species is very likely to go extinct before having the technological capability of running such advanced simulations. Number two, humans are extremely unlikely to run a significant number of simulations of their evolutionary history for moral reasons. And number three, we're almost certainly living in a computer simulation. So basically, what that means is that humans must have lived long enough to be able to make these advanced simulations. And we're probably in one.
Interesting. And I think this ties in with the explosion of AI at the moment.
Yeah.
It's everywhere, and nearly everybody's used it in one form or another. And I think the advancement of AI, of course, we could be living in a simulation designed by AI in the future.
Yeah.
So AI takes over. This is, simply speaking, AI takes over, but we've got to keep occupied. So it makes a simulation for us to be in, so that we think we live in our own lives. Very similar to the Matrix, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. So this Nick Bostrom, he says that if humans manage to survive extinction for long enough to simulate a universe that is indistinguishable from our own and have no legal restrictions or moral compunctions against running these simulations, the probability of the so-called post-humans running ancestor simulations is close to 1.
Right. Interesting. It must be really bad in the future then, if they're running.
It's a bit shit in the future. Gonna watch 2 Herberts doing a podcast.
Oh, and if you are watching this, we're part of your simulation.
There you go.
So all those viewers are watching this. If you had any choice in the matter, you probably selected, we definitely want to be a subscriber on French Ear Trumpet.
Boom, get in there. You know what's funny? If this was a simulation, all the effort that we put into doing that shower room, we could have just slapped it in, and it wouldn't have mattered because it's a simulation. Who gives a monkeys?
Yeah, you could have just upgraded.
You know what
just
I mean?
upgrade the firmware on the bathroom, and then you'd be fine.
Ba-ting. That's so funny.
Brilliant.
Oh, dear.
So
moving on, I came across a selection of conspiracy theories called technology suppression.
Right, okay. So this would be in direct opposition to those that think we got all our technology from spacecraft at Area 51.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, so technology suppression. And this turns out not to be a conspiracy theory.
Okay.
But to actually be true.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there was something called the Phoebus Cartel, which was set up between 1924 and 1939, which is obviously the start of the Second World War. And the Phoebus Cartel was a group of manufacturers, including General Electric, who limited and lowered the life of light bulbs.
Interesting. You should mention that, actually, because one of the first ever light bulbs that was made is still going.
Exactly. So that is called the Centennial Light. And I'm just reading this here. It's considered to be the longest lasting incandescent lamp in the world. It is used as evidence of collusion among incandescent lamp manufacturers in the Phoebus Cartel, one of whose aims was to limit the average lifespan of light bulbs to 1,000 hours.
Yeah, yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, and that all comes into the conspiracy theory of planned obsolescence.
Yeah, I actually think there's something to be said for that, because, and I'll give you a really good example of a manufacturer who doesn't do it and has fallen foul of it. Pyrex.
Yeah.
So Pyrex make those amazing glass dishes you can literally do anything with.
They just last forever, don't they?
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they're really struggling now because their products are too good.
Yeah.
And now, if you made a glass bowl that smashed after, I don't know, 5 years or so, then
there's going to be a turnover, isn't there?
Yeah, but you make a glass bowl that's so good, you can literally knock nails in with it, microwave it, barbecue it, do whatever you want with it, freeze it, and it's still going strong. Then you pricing, well, not pricing, but making your products obsolete.
Yeah,
Really,
because there's only so much of a market for a product, and once that's saturated,
exactly,
you're not going to sell anymore, are you? I mean, sorry.
Right, just related to that, another film. I know most of my time spent quoting films, but there's a really good film called Dark Waters. Have you seen it?
I don't think I have. Go on.
It's a true story, and it's in America, and it's all about the chemical industry, and they're making non-stick pans and non-stick chemicals for. I'm not going to use any brand names on here, but for let's just say non-stick pans, and the chemicals involved in it are so carcinogenic, and the plants where they manufacture these things, everything's dying around them. It's that bad.
Yeah.
And it's a true story about how they were taken to court and the vast amount of resources and money put behind stopping that court action. It really is, and big. It's like the Boeing thing we mentioned earlier. They really put a lot. But if anyone wants to watch that video, Dark Waters, it's quite a recent film, but it's brilliant. And after I watched it, chucked all my non-stick out the window. Literally never used it again.
Really?
And that goes into like the Pyrex side of things. Because that's the alternative, isn't it? You can cook in them, you can do anything you want in them. But as soon as I seen what the damage this non-stick stuff did, that's it, straight out in the bin.
That's interesting, isn't it? I mean, the obvious example of planned obsolescence, allegedly, is Apple. You know,
yes.
with all their updates. How many times have you had an Apple product that after an update it performs worse than it did before?
Interesting. Yep, I agree. This is my new MacBook and it's really good. No problems with it. I love it. It's great for editing films, but I've got an old one which I had since 2012, but then they stopped being able to update it. They just literally said you can't put the new software on.
Yeah.
Legitimately, you can sideload it, but you can't legitimately do it. So literally, and then all the apps and all the programs say, well, you haven't got the latest operating system, you can't have it. So just
planned obsolescence.
Yeah, and they were caught actually with the batteries on their iPhones as well. The software was actually reducing the capacity quicker than the battery was actually wearing out.
Yeah, well, there's an example of that I'm just looking on Wikipedia, so it must be true.
Must be.
Yeah, the Epson Stylus C42UX inkjet printer is said to issue a defect message after a certain number of printed pages, whereupon further use of the printer is prevented. This lock, which is said to be caused by a chip specially present for this purpose, could be switched off with the help of special software.
No. Yeah, well, why am I don't know why I'm surprised by all that.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of these. I'm not sure. Can we call them really what we think of conspiracy theories, or is it just greedy businesses? I don't know. Where's the definition?
Yeah, where's the line? You're right.
Is it just greedy businesses doing greedy business things till they get caught and then they'll stop or fess up or whatever? But whereas a conspiracy theory is more like 5G gives you COVID. I mean, there's a big difference between those two types of things.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. Planned obsolescence is definitely there. But just in my mind, I can't decide whether it's a conspiracy or not.
It was like the something that would be on the side of greedy business was the VW emissions scandal, wasn't it? That they basically faked all the allegedly faked all the
test
emissions tests, to get them in, within a particular band, And they weren't real world tests. They weren't. It was. Is it
that was really really clever. So the software in the car could tell it wasn't moving, but the engine was being operated. And under that set of circumstances, that would be when the emissions are being tested. So you can't test a car that's moving. So in the lab, they put it on a rolling road or whatever.
Yeah.
But the car knows it's not actually going anywhere. So it goes, oh, hang on. We're in a test phase. So I'm going to alter all this stuff to make it pass the exam. And then once it's passed, we go back to normal.
Yeah.
Clever. Well, not so clever in the end.
Yeah, as it turned out. Yeah.
As it turned out. But again, is that just greedy business? I think that's greedy business.
I think it would go from a conspiracy theory that people suspected it to the point where it was proved, and it becomes a greedy business thing,
But the thing with that is someone's actually confessed and said, yeah, all right, that was us. What are you
well, it all comes down to whistleblower, doesn't it? Which is, which at the beginning of this, I said about the moon landing hoax would require the involvement of 411,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
So,
4,000.
Yeah, so, but you only need one whistleblower, and for that one whistleblower to be believed.
Yeah, but you could do what Boeing does and just allegedly assassinates them.
Allegedly.
No, I can't. No, that's it. Is that plane's getting awfully close to my window?
Yeah, those two fellas on French Ear Trumpet, yeah, plane landed on each of their houses at the same time. Yeah,
I don't know.
Really strange.
737 Max, apparently. I don't know what that was all about.
I can't work it out.
Yeah, right. Okay, here's one that has not been proved yet, but I've got a theory.
Go
on. Amazon personal assistant, Google Assistant, whoever, and your phone is listening. Right. I'll give you my evidence from my last week, in fact. So I was working at Big Dave's. Hello, Big Dave. And in the evening, we watch a film, or as it was the football or whatever, but sometimes we watch a TV series, something like that. And I asked him what was the name of the first ever Star Trek Next Generation. What was the name of the first episode? And it's something like a disaster at Farpoint or something along those lines. It has the word Farpoint in it. So we were talking about this for 10, 15 minutes. And Dave says, oh, tonight we'll put it on after the football. And I said, great, yeah, no problem. So we go there and we scroll through everything on Amazon Prime. And all of the episodes of all of the seasons, like the original series, the Discovery, Enterprise, everything, all the films, everything was all free to view. The only episode that was buy or rent was the one episode we've been talking about all day.
Mate.
Only one.
You're joking.
No. I swear. Every other episode in that, so there's about 9 seasons. They were all free. The only one that wasn't was that particular one. So, are they listening or are they not? What do you think?
I read something a while ago. Well, actually, not that long ago. A few weeks ago, that the latest Echo shows I've got like a sonar built into them that map out the rooms and map your movements in those rooms.
Okay. And
they said that the only real reason that they would want that information would be that when they come for you, they know where you are.
That is a conspiracy theory and a half.
That's a gold one, isn't it? That's a gold standard conspiracy theory. Yeah.
I like that a lot. I love that. I want that one to be true. I really do. So, right, I travel a lot, and I travel a lot on planes, and I want to mention chemtrails. Have you heard of these?
Oh, chemtrails, yes. Good. I was actually going to write that down because I did look into that. I was actually going to write it down, but I thought
bit too crazy.
No, I just had, I had the Elon Musk and Jeffrey Epstein and technology suppression, and I just ran out of time for that. But chemtrails, yes, go on, tell me all about it.
So the theory is that when you look up in the sky and there's a plane going overhead, sometimes not always, there's a vapor trail behind the aeroplane, like one on each side.
Yeah.
And allegedly, in the theory of chemtrails, that is the government. Or no, sorry, hold on. Deep state. Can I use that word?
Deep
Can I use those words?
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, that's it. Hold on. It's all gone black. Anyway, is spraying a particular chemical into the atmosphere. So some people say it's climate engineering, and some people it is saying it's other chemicals to affect human behavior of some sort. So that is actually a conspiracy theory. And I look, how much effort you would have to go in to do that. First of all, any chemical sprayed that high makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. Yeah. Yes, cloud seeding is actually a thing, but we're talking 30,000 feet in the air, not at cloud level. Silver nitrate.
Nitrate, that's it. I was going to say carbide, but yeah, silver nitrate, yeah.
Yeah, it's been used at Olympic Games in China to clear the weather. I mean, why not? But these things are way higher than cloud level, 30,000 feet up plus. So whatever they spray in the atmosphere,
it's just going to stay there, isn't it?
Well, and it's going to, by the time it gets down to Earth level or even cloud level, it will disperse too much.
Once again, it's down to the physicist David Grimes saying the amount of people that would need to be involved in it.
Right. Let me talk you.
Effective, yeah.
Let me talk you through it. So, aeroplanes' fuel is calculated in weight.
Yeah.
At sea level. So, when you go and you go to the airport and you see them loading it on, they connect the tanker, or sometimes they connect direct into the ground, like at Stansted or wherever, and they connect direct in, and they fill up the plane and they add so many kilos of aviation fuel. So the pilot knows, I've got that many kilos of aviation fuel, that will get me X amount of distance. If you then start adding some chemicals into that, then the weight would change. So let's say you had 10,000 kilos of aviation fuel in there, but it wasn't, and it was only really 8,000 with 2,000 of this special ingredient. The pilot can only go 8,000, can only go a certain amount of distance before he runs out of fuel, but he thinks he's still got 2,000 kilos left. So it's impossible. And anything that goes through the engine gets incinerated by the engine anyway.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So it's just, so the ground staff would have to be in it. The people who fill the tankers would have to be in it.
That's what I'm saying. About the amount of people. So this David Grimes says that a conspiracy to suppress a cure for cancer would require 714,000 people.
I think we're coming to the conclusion that nearly all of these conspiracy theories are, especially the older ones, are pretty much nonsense.
Yeah.
But they are very, very entertaining, especially the chemtrails one and the 5G one.
One of the longest running conspiracy theories and craziest, maybe,
go on,
is flat Earth.
Oh, how do we not mention flat Earth?
Yeah, flat Earth.
So, yeah.
I mean, there's a whole society. I don't know whether it's international, but certainly it's in the UK. There's the Flat Earth Society, And they say that GPS is rigged, to show that the Earth is round when it is in fact flat. For me, the reason that I know the Earth is round, right?
Go on.
So,
are you sure?
I'm relatively sure. Yeah. The reason that I would say is that I used to pick people up at the airport fairly regularly, and a flight from New York to London. What's that? About 8 hours?
Yeah.
6 to 8 hours. And then I remember picking someone up from flying in from Vancouver, which is on the west coast of Canada, and looked at the flight, which was what I used to do. I'd be able to follow the flight on flight radar, and because I was a professional.
Well, obviously.
Professional what, I don't know, but I was a professional. Yeah, and the flight time was about 7 hours. And I thought, well, that's right on the other side of Canada. How can it possibly, be a short, only a short amount of time more than a flight from New York?
Mm-hmm.
And I was struggling with it. And then it suddenly hit me that when you see a map, it's flat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Earth is a sphere, and Vancouver's over here. It flies over the North Pole, over Greenland, and then down to the UK.
Yes.
So the New York flight does that over the land masses, comes down, and the Vancouver flight does the same, but just on the other side.
Yeah. So the fastest point is actually not a straight line. The fastest, it's a curve, which is which makes sense.
Yeah.
And we'll gloss over the fact we've actually got pictures of it, obviously, and we've actually got a picture.
All fake. They're all fake.
Yeah.
Fake
so we've landed a probe onto Mars. It's taken a picture of Earth from Mars.
Right.
That's not good enough.
No, it's fake.
I mean, what level would you have to? The people have actually killed themselves trying to work this out as well. So there was a guy recently who strapped himself into a homemade rocket to fire him up high enough to see the curve of the Earth.
Just stop right there, right? Just remember, just stop right there, right? At what point do you get up in the morning and go, right, today's the day I'm going to strap myself into a homemade rocket and take a look at the Earth. Nothing's going to go wrong.
Nothing at all.
This is a great idea.
So, unfortunately, he didn't make it. Whether he actually saw the curvature of the Earth and went, oh, God. Yeah. Ah, no. Oh, wait. I've got to go down now. But his last thing was, or maybe he got up there and, I don't know, he thought, oh, it's curved. Yeah. No point in me going back down now.
I think any experience that's got the words homemade rocket in one sentence,
it's not right, is it?
It's probably to be swerved.
Yeah, I would think so. Right, there's got to be some more amazing. Oh, what about the Bermuda Triangle? Then we don't hear a lot of that.
Bermuda Triangle. Yeah,
we don't hear a lot.
Bermuda Triangle. No, it's kind of. It's a bit like UFOs, isn't it? It's kind of lost.
Maybe not conspiracy theory then. No, supernatural maybe.
Bermuda Triangle used to be things disappeared in there, and it was just bad weather.
Yeah, and until things improved and they got better GPS, and now you don't hear about it at all.
Yeah,
interesting. No. Yeah, I don't know. Let's think. There must be some more super crazy ones than that. We've had lizard people, moon landings, Avril Lavigne, obviously.
Yeah, Pentagon.
Yeah, the Pentagon one. Yeah. So some people do think 9/11 was completely a hoax, isn't it? That the buildings were blown up.
Yeah, controlled demolition. That's the theory, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. I can't. There's nothing. When you actually see it on the what were you doing when you saw 9/11? Where were you?
I was driving a 7.5 ton truck, delivering. No, actually picking up. You know the lead weights that go in sash windows.
Yeah.
Pallets of those.
Oh, nice.
From a manufacturer in North London. And yeah, I was picking them up, and my ex-wife phoned me. She was my wife at the time, obviously. She won't phone me now. Don't say anything else. Okay. Yeah. Yes. She phoned me and said, "Oh, have you seen the news?" I'm like, well, "Of course not. I mean, I'm working." And she said, "Yeah, plane's just flown into the World Trade Center." So okay. And as she was talking to me, the second plane flew in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, "Wow. Okay."
I was swimming actually. Would you believe it? 2001.
Right.
And I was just doing some swimming, and in a place where there was actually a bar as well. So I'd finished the swimming, got changed, I went upstairs, I went into the bar, and I remember looking at the TV. There was like a TV in the corner, usually the news or whatever. But I was like, I'm watching a movie at this time, and this is a funny old movie. And then I literally look at it thinking, what's that plane? Oh, I've never seen this film before. And then you realise it's the news.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, that's a bit crazy. And then
whatever happened to Bovril crisps?
Bovril crisps.
Yeah. Did you ever have Bovril crisps when you went swimming? That was always the thing after swimming. We'd go and have a packet of Bovril crisps and
Is it
hot chocolate.
In the 70s? This.
Okay, yeah, right. Yeah.
Bovril crisps. Yeah. That's got to be a conspiracy right there. And that's sounds horrific.
It's true. Bovril crisps. It was a thing.
Oh my God. So, right. One last thing, subject to end on.
Okay.
Give me your thoughts on whether COVID was escaped from a lab or it really was a bat and a pig doing something.
Okay, so we're probably going to get a little note under this video saying further information about COVID is available from the WHO.
All right, okay.
Which is in itself a conspiracy theory. Right?
Oh, okay, yeah, right, yeah, got you.
So, without a doubt, it was whether it was what I spoke about earlier, whether it's incompetence or a planned scenario, but without a doubt, it was an escape from that lab.
Yeah, I mean,
the fact that it was called the coronavirus lab
in Wuhan, which is where the first cases were found. Yeah.
Call me an old cynic.
Just coincidence. There had actually been escapes from that lab previously as well, which were documented.
Right.
But they weren't of that particular strain. But there had been some, and the inspections on the lab always came up with it being substandard. But that's not unusual. I mean, Porton Down, a laboratory in England, often finds has found they found what's that, smallpox just in a normal fridge once. There's all sorts of just incompetence, like putting the wrong thing in the wrong place. Maybe not incompetence, absent-mindedness. It just happens. It just happens.
The thing is, like in Jurassic Park, Richard Attenborough says, "Life will find a way."
Yeah. I don't know, but things like smallpox and messing around with viruses and stuff like that, can we just not? I mean, would we really just don't do it?
Yeah, it's awful, isn't it?
I was just reading a book actually about AI But part of the book is also that you can buy a DNA sequencer now for about £12,000, and you can actually manufacture your own viruses and change strains of anything you want if you know what you're doing.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty easy to do apparently. So we should expect more.
So do you think that'll be the next terrorist outrage? I never understood, why. I mean, I don't know whether this is following on from conspiracies, but maybe it's potential conspiracies. I never understood why terrorists didn't or haven't so far targeted utilities. So
it's not super easy to do.
Well, the thing is, right, if you was a terrorist organisation and you said that you had poisoned all of Thames Water's water supply with a tasteless, colourless virus, or some kind of poison, how many people would go, well, that's cobblers, and drink the water out of the tap?
Yeah, but we can't be the first people to think of that.
No, I'm sure.
Thames Water and whoever the government is will probably know. But like going back to the beginning, where we mentioned the CIA actually did that.
Yeah, there you go.
But that was in a country that wasn't monitoring their water standards, and they probably didn't have any water standards anyway. And to be honest, in the UK at the moment, who would notice anyway? It's so bad. That's a joke. Anyway, so I guess it's possible, but they haven't done it. And if they haven't done it, they haven't done it for a reason. What are you going to poison it with? And I'll tell you what, this is also reminiscent of. I'm sure you've heard about people getting gassed. Have you heard of this? So was it one of the famous racing drivers? I'm going to say Jenson Button. Right. Successfully made a home insurance claim that he was robbed at night in his own house. And what happened was that assailants got some kind of sleeping gas and fired it in the air conditioner outside to knock everyone out inside.
Well, wasn't there that, I think it was some Chechen terrorists in Russia.
Beslan.
In an opera house, was it? Or
yeah,
and the authorities decided to put some sleeping gas into the place and killed a bunch of people.
Oh yeah, loads of people died by swallowing their tongue and stuff.
Yeah,
but it's a big thing. I used to be a member of self-build motor caravan club because I built my own motorhome. Years ago, and it was a big thing on there. So what they did was they wrote to the Royal College of Anaesthesiologists in London and said, look, can you disprove this? Because they were saying that people were saying they were getting robbed in their motorhome by people putting a little pipe through the window, gassing everyone inside and then going in and helping themselves. And the reply,
do you know what they was using?
They weren't. It's completely pointless. It's useless. It's a conspiracy, basically.
Okay.
So the Royal College of Anaesthesiologists wrote back and said, this is not possible. How can you possibly, I mean, there was so many problems with it. Like, what is this portable tank that you're carrying around to draw suspicion from police? The amount you would need to gas a motorhome would be quite extensive. And how would you manage the dosage for a small child and a large male adult?
Yeah, of course.
They wouldn't be the same. And they said that, look, we spend all our time with one, maybe two consultant anesthesiologists with a patient, and it's right in front of you, and to keep the levels right, to stop them either dying or keep them at a state of consciousness where they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Some jack of all trades with a cylinder of whatever it is can't poke it through the window and then expect everyone to be the same. And plus, technically, I know this, it's impossible to fire it down an air conditioner because it doesn't suck air from the outside. It just pumps refrigerant from one place to another. There's no connection with the air from outside to inside on a normal air conditioning system.
Right.
So that's it. But some people have had their insurance claims accepted, and it's complete nonsense. Because they did end their letter by saying, if someone's come up with this clear odorless gas, that can just do this, can someone tell us what it is? Because we'd really like to use it.
We'll have some of it.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
So that's a good one that's been completely disproven, but it does pop up every now and then.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. All right, so I think we've pretty much covered conspiracy theories. I'm sure there's hundreds that we've missed.
Oh, of course there is. Yeah. But definitely have a look at Capricorn 1 if you're into your films for the fake Mars landing, and Dark Waters if you never want to use non-stick pans ever again.
Right. I use non-stick pans all the time. That'll explain a lot, really.
We'll try and leave a link in the description for those films if you want to watch them.
Sure. All right. Do you want to do the outro?
Yeah, why not? Right. First thing, this is all just entertainment and just chat between myself and Colin. Please don't sue us. Please.
There'll be no point suing us. We've got nothing.
Yeah, we haven't got anyway. I can't even afford plasterboard for my wall.
Look. Buy me a coffee.
Okay. Please think about subscribing if you haven't subscribed already. Visit our own channels as well, AJ in France and French Countryside Live. I'm sure you'll find some videos on there that you find entertaining, or if not informative, and share it around on social media. But I think for now, I'll just say it's goodbye from me, and it's
goodbye from him.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Goodbye.